Hey,
We need it.
hey, what's up, everybody? Podcast hanging out here. Let's go.
What's up?
What's up? It is me here with Johnny Killman, Caleb Barfield behind the mic. Say hey to everybody, Caleb.
Hey to everybody, Caleb.
Such a, he's got a dad who has dad jokes. We were at team rally the other night, and you asked the question.
How does a buffalo drop their kid off at school?
And from the back of the crowd, we heard,
Bye, son.
It literally, I just walked off the stage and was like, all right, sounds good. I know who that was. I'm not even going to try to do another one.
my son has lived with a dad who has dad jokes constantly. My daughter this morning, Carson, she was looking in the mirror and she said, I've got something in my eye. And my response always to them whenever they said that was, it's an eyeball. And she says, I got something in my eye. And I looked at her and I said, and she said, don't even say it. I know it's an eyeball.
I mean, they're getting used to it. I mean, they've had you, 16 years, 18 years? So it's all
In 14
osmosis.
years. Yep, all three of them. They've all had me at least 14. One 16, one 18.
True.
Two 16, one 18. So we are here today, and just the duo today. No triplets like normal. We're just duo. Or we got a triplet if we count Caleb behind the mic. Just the two of us here today. Here goes conversation I would love to have with you. Your wife is the children's pastor here.
Yeah.
Okay. You are both on staff, and my wife is the office administrator here. She kind of keeps everybody, including myself, in line.
Yes,
and let's talk about, first off, let's start with the process of never thinking that we would ever be able to be on staff with our spouses. Let's start there.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah, traditionally, I mean, growing up, you always think of the husband, he's going to go pastor somewhere, and then the wife's going to have to either, be a stay-at-home mom or, like Christy, she teaches, or she was a teacher, so, that was what she was going to have to do, and she was going to.
So the assumption was, if I'm in full-time ministry, sorry, Christy, you got to teach school forever.
That's what all we could fathom was, the dream was even me being full-time. That seemed so far away. So to think that both of us were going to be full-time was, we couldn't even conceive that, like in our minds, like that's not even
And then
possible.
there were moments where she was actually recruited and interviewed at churches to be the children's pastor somewhere. And then the thought in the household was what? Maybe
this is something that, we both could do, but I knew she was called to ministry. And so I wanted her to, if it meant that I had to sacrifice and go work a what we call a secular job so that she could be full-time at a church, I was going to do that. So there was always this battle within of, okay, how are we going to make this work to fulfill what we know is both of, our callings. Even if we have to sacrifice one, that's what we'll do.
Yeah. I had been told a lot whenever I was young in ministry. Things like, your wife shouldn't work. You need to, set it up to where, man, we had kids and we were broke, and planting a church is so hard. And so to think that your wife, you would get to the place one day where the kids are grown and, things to where your wife doesn't have to work, and that she can spend time in the office with you, and she can be in meetings with you, and she can, help support you in certain things that many times were awkward, seemed like a very difficult task for me and her specifically. And so having her around here was very challenging at first. You feel that?
Yeah, I think, well, we know there's boundaries. So there has to be these boundaries that we set between, we're married, but we're also coworkers. And
yeah, so tough.
For us, we found that it was going to be unhealthy if we let our marriage. Now we're always married. It's not like I'm not married to her inside the church, but
Correct. You're always married. Correct.
Yeah, I'm all like I have my job I've got to do, and she's got her job she has to do.
Where at home she could just holler down the hallway and say, "Hey Johnny, come help me."
Right.
Or here, or you can just holler down the hallway and say, "Christy, come fix this." Here in the office, you got to treat her like you do every other staff member in the office.
And then we would have to use our own departments to try to get stuff done. We don't use each other.
Yeah, I remember when Christy was still at. I'm going to shine a little bad light on you here, but
here we go.
You know what's coming.
Play whatever sound effect you want after this.
I remember when Christy was still working full time in the school, and I was trying to get you some husband points at home, trying to get you to help her to do some kids men stuff around here. And hey, will you help her do this? Will you help her do this? Just trying to honestly get you some wins. And you looked at me and you said, very seriously, you weren't joking. It wasn't like, ha ha ha.
And I will say this was during also like, I was getting a little stressed out. So it wasn't just, anyway. It wasn't just
you were getting a little stressed out by life or by ministry or by her.
Yeah, because I had my own expectations for myself inside of, my job. And then I wanted, I think at the time I was kind of struggling to see success in what I was doing. So to then put on top of my plate to also what I felt was the assistant.
Help your wife.
The word I
help
said
your
was
wife.
assistant.
His exact words were, "I'm not the
pastor.
assistant kids pastor or the associate kids pastor."
Yeah.
And so I said to you, "Don't worry about it. I will never ask you to do another thing for her ever again. I will find some other staff member to give them brownie points with the children's pastor if her husband doesn't want them."
Right.
I think was the exact way I responded.
It was very similar. Very similar.
So the struggle of both our spouses being in the office, things like, obviously small tasks that you have where you're like, "Hey, Christy, can you help me?" It's so much easier because she's so much better at it than you, whatever it is. Maddie's so much better at, making a flyer than I am. Sure. So it's really easy for me to look at Maddie and say, "Hey, can you make this flyer for me?" Or Maddie's so much better at a bunch of things. Honestly, Maddie's so much better at everything than me. So it's so much easier to call Maddie in there and say, "Hey, will you do this for me?" The difference between our wives is mine says, "No, do it yourself." And yours says, "Of course." And we'll just pile stuff on her plate.
Right.
Right. So you have to be in a place to where you're protecting her and her job and her task and her ministry by not throwing stuff at her. Yeah. And I've just come to the place to where I if I ask Maddie to do something, it's because I really can't do it. We're working through policy stuff, and I just said, "I'm sending you this document. It's going to be a mess. You're going to have to help me out with the ABCs of it. It's a mess." And she's like, "Yeah, no problem." Yeah. So if it's something that she knows I can't do, she will gladly take it. If it's something she feels I'm just pressing off on her because I don't want to do it, she will gladly tell me, "No, do it yourself."
Do it yourself. Yeah, no, I find ourselves in very similar situations. Like during the week, no, we're very I'm very good about the boundaries of our relationship inside, work. But on the weekends, like let's say she's got to build some furniture or she needs help moving boxes to South Campus or whatever, I'm going to ride in the car with her and I'm going to, hang out with her and do that with her. So there's definitely those boundaries. And even like when we go home, we don't really talk too much about our ministry lives, like at home. Like
really?
Yeah. There will be times where things will happen in like our
That's surprising to me.
In our staff meetings or, I'll hear something and be like, "I didn't know that was happening," or I didn't know any, she doesn't talk about the preschool that we have. She doesn't come home and we talk about, we might talk about how it went when she got done, come back in the office, but there's no,
very interesting.
There's no extensive, real conversations of okay, I'm making these moves. And
what do y'all talk about then? Because Maddie and I, we talk about kids, we talk about our faith, we talk about our jobs, we talk about, things we enjoy, whether it be her with the beach or whatever it may be, football season coming up, Gamecock football, I try to get her interested in those conversations. Stuff as we're passing stuff will spark conversation. But just in general, you're sitting around the house. What does conversations look like between you and Christy Killman?
At the house, a lot of it is, okay, what are plans? Like, what do we have going on? Mindless conversations a lot of times. And, for us right now, the season we're in, with trying to have a kid, that's a lot that's on the conversation about, okay, doctor's appointments and that kind of thing. So we really don't have, I wouldn't say we have, specific things that we go over. Now, that if there's, an emotional thing that's happening in Christy's life or something that's kind of weighing heavy
Did
on
you
me,
talk about ministry more whenever y'all weren't on staff together?
I would say so. I would say we talked a lot more about it. And then even when I wasn't full-time on staff, I would complain a lot to her about, I feel like I should be on staff somewhere, but yet I'm not on staff somewhere. And then so that would
Not
be
because of
something-
the arrogance, I feel like I deserve it, but
Right.
because of the hunger, I want to be there all the time serving the Lord.
Right, yeah, God, that's where I know I'm supposed to be. Why am I not there yet? And then having people say you're not ready for full-time ministry, or people saying you'll never be in ministry like that. That stuff to me was stuff that we had conversations about post or pre me being full-time.
See, I feel like Maddie and I were a complete opposite. When we weren't here together, we talked less about office ministry type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we still talk big picture stuff, just because it's our future attached to what we're doing here. But we talked way less because honestly, it was almost I'm not there. I don't care. I don't want to talk about it type thing.
Right.
Maddie doesn't like, I went to Lee University. Maddie doesn't like talking about Lee because she didn't go. She wasn't there. That's a part of my life that she doesn't fully know or understand.
Sure.
And so the office life was almost that same way. And now that she's here, I feel like it almost becomes conversational stuff that we're having to where it's almost like you and I, going and hanging out and having conversation about what's happening in the office. It almost becomes, friendly conversation. And for me, I have to say, okay, what are we talking about, consuming ourselves with just office stuff, or is this just friendly conversation that we're having?
Yeah.
Is this helping our relationship, or is this, are we almost going to turn our life into just what we do in the office? And that's a
Right.
battle that even inside of conversations that I have with her, that I'm, as we're talking, thinking through those things.
Yeah, and I don't know if we talk if she's stressed about something, or if there's, something weighing heavy on her from ministry, we'll have those conversations. But we're not just going to just mindlessly talk about, because we've had the set boundaries early on with that stuff. So it could be, you can call it healthy, unhealthy, or whatever it is, but even helping her make decisions. She doesn't ask me, hey, what should I do about this? Or, I don't say, hey, what would you do about this? It's we don't, we try to set maybe sometimes too hard of boundaries for ministry.
What else do y'all do fun together? What are some fun things that married couples do together? I don't know the answer to that, so let's ask you.
Well, my wife is a beast softball player, so we play co-ed softball when the season's in, or we were trying to play kickball together, but Christy kept kicking herself in the head.
How is that possible?
I don't know. I think something to do with when they pitch the ball, the way it rolls up her foot when she tries to bunt it.
Kicking herself in the head.
No.
Kicking
herself
the
in
ball.
and hitting her in the
Okay.
face. And she was just tired of doing that.
Makes a little more sense.
So sorry guys. You got a translator here. But yeah, so we like sports. Sometimes she'll go ride on the golf cart with me and we'll play golf. She's a big sunrise person.
Okay.
Sometimes she'll tear up, looking at a sunset or a sunrise. She'll just.
That's easy, man. You get 2 easy opportunities every single day.
Right. So I thought you should start waking up earlier with me, because she doesn't like to, really wake up early. So.
You know who Zach Morris is?
Yes.
Okay. Time in. You know what happened there?
No.
Exactly. Zach Morris stuff, son.
I have no
You
clue.
time out and time in things. Nobody has any clue what's happening.
So it's real. It actually happens.
No, it's not real, but thankfully the power of television makes it real.
Gotcha.
All right. So sunsets, hanging out, mushy stuff, gooey stuff,
Yeah.
and then sweaty, nasty softball, kickball. So y'all are kind of opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Mushy gushy, sweaty nasty.
But we do enjoy we got a big old couch in our house. We do enjoy just watching a movie we say we're going to watch a movie.
What movie? Last week we talked about favorite movie of all time. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, man.
Anytime you ask Johnny a question.
Lord of the Rings.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All of them.
All of them.
2 is my favorite.
Can I tell you my Lord of the Rings story?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm in college. Am I in college? Or I was just happened to be
I think it's a little. No, you may be in
like
college.
02-ish?
Yeah, I think that's the first one was
Okay,
like 01
so I'm in college. Lord of the Rings comes out, the first one. We're sitting in the movie theater in Cleveland. Me and my friend Josh Foote. Josh, I love you, my friend.
The first
Footy.
one's released in 2001. So
2001. So I was in college, okay? So Lord of the Rings Part 1's out. Get to the end of the movie. They're walking over the hill, and all of a sudden, the lights start coming back on. And no, the movie's like, I'd been there for like 2.5 hours.
Right.
They start walking over the hill, and all of a sudden, the lights start coming back on. And I looked over at my friend Foote. He's crying. And I looked over at him, and I said, what is happening right now?
Right, yeah.
Is this intermission? Because the movie didn't end.
Kind of.
It just stopped. So I've never been a huge fan of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that was hard, the first movie, because of how it ended. They were in the middle of this like huge
Yeah, it just ended.
And then Frodo leaves.
And then it's like, oh, in 4 years, you're going to get part 2 of this.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. So Tony the Basher loves Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And whenever him and Kimberly got married, like, I don't know, it was like maybe their first anniversary, second anniversary, his birthday, I don't know, some big event in their life. And she said, what do you want for your birthday or for your anniversary or whatever it was? And he said, I want you to sit down and watch the unedited version. Not unedited. What's it called? Like the director's cut, like the extended version. The extended version. I want you to sit and watch the extended version with me. So she sat there, and in one day they had a movie marathon and watched the extended
Christy,
version.
my birthday's coming up in like 12 days. That would be amazing.
Happy birthday. How old are you?
I'll be 28.
What did you want to do whenever you were 20 by 28? Whenever you were 20, you thought, when I'm 28 in 8 years, because at 20 you are... let's say 18. You're graduating high school. What did you think in 18? By the time I'm 28, in 10 years, I want to what?
Well, at that time I was studying to be a youth pastor. I think I just wanted to do ministry. I think I was just trying to get through that. I didn't know what to do next.
You want to be married by 28?
Yeah, I was a young, like, I want to get married. Like,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I didn't really want to wait around.
Me either. I got married at 20. I was 22 and Maddie was 21.
But see, at 18,
How old were you?
When I got married, I was 20.
20. So, and Christy was 40.
25.
Oh, 25?
Get close.
Sorry, Christy, don't watch this. I just kidding.
You got to remember, though, when I was 18.
So you were 20
Yeah.
when you got married?
Well, when I was going into college, I was connected. I had started going to a Southern Baptist church. So this whole... Like,
We love the Baptist folk.
Yeah,
You didn't mean
yeah.
anything, but
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
I would say the Baptist church is responsible for me being who I am today.
Awesome.
So for me...
Is that a crack on the Baptist church or a thank?
They pulled me in. I had some church hurt. They pulled me in and
That's awesome.
started getting me on the right direction.
Awesome. What church was that specifically?
North Trenton Baptist Church, Columbia.
Columbia.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So they...
Thank you, North Trenton.
Yeah, they took me
Trenton?
in. Yeah, Trenton.
North Trenton.
I'm probably saying it wrong, but Trenton.
I say a lot of things wrong.
Southern draw, you know.
When you come to Horry County, did you call it Horry County?
Yeah, did it first. Then Maddie's like, you can't do that. And I
Yeah.
was like,
You can always tell the people that are from here and the people who aren't.
Yeah.
If you're from here, it's Horry
I
County.
almost got stoned to death because I said it. And I was like, chill. Okay, I'll change it. Horry.
So at
fine.
18, you wanted to be a youth pastor, you wanted to be married,
Yeah.
and you've achieved both of those things.
Yeah. I wanted to be a youth pastor, wanted to be married. And then I really didn't know after that what was going to happen.
What was next?
Yeah. I did drop out of school at North Greenville where I went.
But then went back and finished.
Went back and finished at Lee University. Got my degree there. Became a youth pastor.
Caleb, you're 18.
Yes.
What do you want to see happen in your life by the time you're 28?
Be full-time on staff here.
Okay.
Have a girlfriend by that time, hopefully.
Come on, man.
Girlfriend.
Come on.
Fingers crossed.
Come on.
I want to hit my first home run in softball.
There you go.
Real goals.
And I want to hit 85 on a speedometer.
Wow.
Other than that, maybe
Softball goals, to have a girlfriend, and to work in the church.
Full time.
I love
perfect.
it. I love it.
Sounds like 18.
Yeah, I was about to say, that sounds exactly like...
Johnny, that was your exact same goals.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like 18.
Sounds like what your goals are at 18.
Yeah.
And I am you.
Yeah, there you go.
Y'all do act eerily similar.
Well, there's some good about it. There's a lot of bad about it, but it'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
It'll work out.
For me at 18, I wanted to be married. I don't know that I had real ministry goals yet at 18. 18 was about the time where I was obviously went off to college, but I had come through like that Brownsville revival stage. So it's just really passionate and hungry for a move of God, and really wanting to find out truth, but was really running from my call. So my first year and a half in college, I wanted nothing to do with the thought of being a pastor.
Why were you running?
Because I saw the church and how mean and nasty it was to people in my life, specifically my family, my dad, myself, and told the story Sunday. I hated church people, man, hated them.
Yeah.
So I ran from my call. I ran from the thought of ever serving in a church. Told him Sunday, I remember saying, Lord, I love you. I will serve you till the day I die, but I don't like your church people. I don't like your people. I remember the night that I was a sophomore in college, third semester in, having to declare my major, and I just kind of went on this fast and praying and seeking the face of God, just trying to find answers in my life. And I remember calling my dad one night in the middle of the night because he ran a paper out, so he was always up in the middle of the night. And I called him and I said, "Hey, Dad." He said, "Hey, son, what are you doing up this late?" And I said, "Oh, just, I'm in college." And my answer is, I'm up praying and fasting and, seeking God for answers. Right. That's the kid I was. Anyways, I said, yeah, I just want to let you know that, I'm going to declare my major tomorrow and I'm going into pastoral ministries. And he said, "Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you finally accepted the call of God on your life." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "You knew this?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course, son. I knew this." And it's like, "But it had to be your decision. This had to be something you wanted to do."
That's cool.
And honestly, my dad always pushed me for ministry, but never pushed me to, I want you to pastor. Mm-hmm. And probably something that I've done not well with my kids is, I've probably done it better with the girls than I have with Caleb. With Caleb, it's almost been, I want you here, instead of, I just want you to do ministry, whatever that looks like. I don't care if it's full-time. I don't care if it's part-time. I don't care if it's volunteer. I love, like I volunteered ministry for 12 years.
Yeah.
7 years at this church, planting this church to be able to get to where we are today. So I love volunteer, even bivocational. I love it. So something that I probably haven't even been, good with Caleb. But for me at 18, I was more worried about, I want to be married. I want to be some version of successful, because I was always told I never would be.
Right.
Just random people, little people that didn't make sense, but somehow they got a hold of your ear and told you wouldn't be successful.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to be a version of successful, whatever that meant. And so, yeah, that's who I was at 18.
Wow.
Tough, man.
Yeah.
18's a tough age.
I think
If you go back and give yourself advice at 18, what would you say? Caleb, listen and turn your microphone on.
at 18,
I want you to get all of this good info here.
I would say you don't know everything that you think you know.
Come on.
And I would also say get plugged into a church and stay connected there. That would be, for me, it's two key things at that age that I needed, and didn't have one of them. One of them I had, and it pushed me. Being connected to a church is what kept me going, even at that time when I was still struggling with who I was spiritually. That kept me on the right path.
I would say for me, what I would love to tell every high school kid, 16, 17, 18, is there are decisions that you will make now that will forever alter your life.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Absolutely.
Right? Like let's just name some of them. Okay, if you drive drunk, it forever alters your life.
Right.
If you take a snort of something or a poke of something or a drag of something, if it could forever alter your life.
Right.
You could have one of those addictive personalities that you're forever battling this. Premarital sex forever alter your life. You have a kid at 16, your life is forever altered.
Yeah.
Those are three really terrible ones that forever alters your life to the negative. But then there are things at 16, 17, 18 that forever alters your life. Getting plugged into a youth group forever alters your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Changed my life.
Creating habits at 16, 17, 18 forever alters your life. Habits like reading the Bible and habits like working out or habits like, getting up at a certain time. There's a lot of 18-year-olds that sleep until 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Thankfully, my kids aren't like that, but like you start creating those habits to where you're waking up early. It just creates habits for the future that are going to be looked at. Honestly, habits like a vulgar mouth.
Yeah.
I told my kids the other day we were at a I don't know, I can't even remember what we were at, and there were kids y'all's age like cussing. You remember where we were at? The soccer game.
Oh.
We were at the soccer game. And there were some kids just so vulgar.
Yeah.
And I told the kids, I said, like nobody our age talks like that.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's so disgusting that when you do talk like that, you are, I always say this when we're talking about the Holy Spirit, your tongue will define you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you speak vulgar, it already, to most people, almost downgrades you to you're a vulgar person. You can't control what's coming out of your mouth, so that, will trickle into other areas of your life. So even the words that you choose to use right now will forever affect you. So 18, 16, 17, 18, man, this is some hard ages.
Yeah.
And you're about to want to have a kid to where you're going to have to raise them through these ages.
Yeah, that's conversations like we always like have now. Honestly, that's a majority of it is like, okay, how would we handle that? What would we do there? Like,
plan all you want, you still have no clue.
No, like conversations of, well, my kid's not going to wear that, or how much are we going to have our kid involved at the church? Like how much will they be there? Like, how much time will we spend? So there's conversations like that we're having, and it's for me, it's nerve-wracking, especially seeing
nerve-wracking for sure
to see what they're going to have to deal with, and knowing what I just dealt with, 10 years ago.
And I'll say, even with kids coming to the church with you, just know that as difficult as it is having a spouse in ministry, I'm now trying to figure out a spouse in ministry and a son in ministry. It's tricky, man. It's tricky. As tricky as it is for just your spouse, now all of a sudden I have kids coming up that are
dynamics of the relationships.
It's crazy. Filters over with my wife. It filters over into the house. With Caleb, it filters over into the house.
Right.
And so it becomes very tricky. It is something that there is no playbook on this, and it's something that's very challenging. So to all you parents out there, just know your kid's life can be altered right now. Help them make good decisions.
Yeah, but I think, just I haven't been here the whole life of your kids, but hearing, like what best practices y'all done, like from them being younger has helped them to where when you have to like release and have no control anymore, then that's going to kind of help guide them towards the right directions they need to. Like, I see that in my life with my parents. So
I will say, because you said that, and we'll end here. I will say it's probably the hardest part with Caleb right now is he's at the age where I release and have no control, except for he's here at the church serving, and I'm in complete control. Right. And so I have this one area where I'm releasing him, and one area where he's basically a new volunteer staff member that I'm trying to mold the same way I did you whenever you got here.
Right.
And so we have this weird dynamic of release him here, but also mold him here.
And then he has to understand that at the same time that this isn't dad talking to you. This is boss man.
And we don't sometimes, do we?
No.
It's tricky, man. It's
Yeah.
tricky. It's very challenging.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I thank y'all for joining us today. Listen, we are going to get to the place where on Monday we're going back to breaking down the word and the sermons for Sunday. But again, we're just trying to get all the techie stuff figured out to make sure that we can do this week in and week out. Start getting back on y'all's radar to say this is stuff that we put out every single week. And then from there, we're going to get back to every Monday sitting down and breaking down the sermon, breaking down the service, and kind of speaking into the week ahead. So thank y'all for joining us. Love you guys. God bless. Let's go.
Let's go.